In this video, I'll show you how I edit a full wedding day in just 5 hours. But before that, I'm gonna give you a bit of context. I've been a wedding photographer for the last 5 years. I have shot over 100 weddings, and around 95% of all my photos are candid. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how I pick out my photos and how I edit them from start to finish, ready to deliver. I prefer to stand back and just capture all the beautiful moments and all the stories that happens without interfering too much, and you'll definitely see that on my photos today. So let's just take a look. So right here we have all the photos. This right here was a 14-hour wedding. And as you can see down here in the bottom, I took 3,359 photos. And from them, I picked out around 1,100. And that is still a little bit on the high end. Usually what I do is that I just go through and I pick out all the photos that I think look good. And then I just fine adjust everything afterwards. So to begin with, I'm just gonna go through everything. And I'm just gonna pick out all the photos that I like. Which I already did yesterday. And only this morning I was like, I could make a video about this. I'm still gonna go through and show you how I did the first few here. So basically what I do is I just go into the photos and I just see I have 2 photos here. Well, this one is the best. I'm just gonna press 1 on that. Do I like any of these? It's only 1 photo of this, so I'm just gonna pick that. And I'm just gonna go through and look at these 2. I think, well, actually, now that I look at it, I think that one is better. So I'm just gonna switch those 2. And that's basically what I do. I just go quickly through them. See, I have 2 photos here. All right. I'm just gonna pick both because there's only 1 of each. And that's also what I try to do when I'm photographing the wedding, is just to take the least amount of photos as possible, because I know it's gonna take so much longer if I have to look through 5 to 10 photos just to find 1. So that's the first step to keep in mind. Let's see. As you can see here, there's 2 photos here. We'll take that one. Here, this is the one where she looks the best. She's not covered by anything. And let's see. That one is where she's working the most. So we need a wide shot from that and a close-up. That's basically just what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go through very fast and get all the different photos that I need. And that took me around 1.5 to 2 hours, somewhere between that, which means that I have around 3 hours to edit all the photos. As I told you, we went to around 1,148 photos, which probably will go down from here. I think I'm gonna be delivering around just over 1,000 photos on this wedding. That will totally depend on the kind of wedding that you're shooting and the kind of weather and the lighting. For me, a full wedding is between 800 photos delivered to just over 1,000. So I think this is maybe a little bit on the high end, but there is also just so much going on, and there is just so many beautiful places and so many beautiful opportunities for me to take photos, which means that that is just what happened. I've gone through all the photos here. And you can see there is a lot. Here we have some portraits, and we go down to some group shots and photos of the ring, some from the party, some of the food, as you can see. And we're gonna go down into the evening here and to the first dance and to some party shots down at the bottom. So that's what I have to go through today. Usually when I'm picking out photos or I'm editing, I like to put on a show or listen to some music. But today I'm bringing you along. Now, the first thing that I like to do after I've picked out all the photos is I like to get them into the order that I would like to deliver the photos, which means that I have to change a few photos around. You can see here we have a few drone shots I got in the morning. I'm gonna take those, I'm gonna throw them up in the beginning here. I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna do that for all the photos that I have. Okay, so now I think it's a good time to jump back in. I think I have gotten everything in the correct order now, which means that I have to... Oh, I could see there was a few things down here. I think I put every photo in order. If not, I can change it later as well. But for now, I think it's good. What I like to do now is just to mark the different categories. First, we have all the photos for the location, as well as the getting ready in the morning jitters and stuff like that. And I'm gonna mark that. Usually with a color. I'm just starting from the top, so I'm going red. The next part here is the ceremony. I'm just gonna go through it here and see where it ends. And it ends right here. And that's just getting the next color, so that's yellow. Then we have all the portraits as well as the rings. So I'm just gonna go to the last one here. And that's gonna be green. Then we have the reception. That is here. It's gonna be blue. Now we have all the dinner. We're gonna go through and see where that ends. That counts for a lot of photos. That goes all the way to this part, which means that's gonna be purple. Then we have the first dance as well as the party stuff. And then just for the last bit, I have all the classic portraits, group and family photos and such. And since I don't have any colors for this, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. It's not that many photos anyway, so I think it'll be fine. Now that all the photos are in order, we can start editing. I'm gonna start from the start here. I'm just gonna see if there's anyone I like more than the others. I think for the first photo here, I'm gonna go with the more natural colors. And I think I'm gonna crop out the flag down in the bottom because I don't think that it is particularly nice. And this was shot with a drone, so I'm just gonna recrop it so it fits. I have the flagpole down there, but I can remove that later. Something like this. Been very dry and very warm in Denmark for a long time now, so that's why all the grass is orange. Maybe they don't need a photo like this one or like this. I think that one's nice, so we can do this. Just go previous here. And maybe just fix up the crop a little bit. Just so they can see the whole place. And the next one here. Previous. It's a little bit dark. Something like that. And now that I'm on my camera, I'm just gonna click on the warm outdoor preset. And then I'm gonna go see all the photos that I have on the outdoors, which means it is something like here. I'm gonna sync it. And I'm basically gonna sync everything up. Now I'm basically done with 24 photos just like that. I'm gonna go through them one by one. The first one here is a little bit too dark, so I'm just gonna brighten that. Let's see, the next one's still a little dark. This one, a little bit dark. And we need to rotate it a bit. Next one. So that's gonna be with the green one. I'm just gonna pull back the highlights on this one so we can see a little more detail in the sky. Something like that. Looks good. Like this one, a little bit brighter maybe. Fix up the crop. And this is basically what I do. I throw on a preset and I just go through them one by one and see maybe this one would look better as the natural green. Probably would. Something like that. This one looks nice as it is, just a little bit brighter. And this one, I think that would be better like this. Like so. Like that. And I'm just gonna go previous. That's not bright enough. Let's see. I like the deeper tones a little bit more here. I'm just gonna do that. Here we go, looks good. That could use a little more brightening. And usually what I look for in these photos is just like the overall balance as well as like the main subject. So as you can see, like the people here are very bright. So we don't want to overexpose that too much, even though it's very dark in the shadow. So I just don't want to overdo it. Let's see this one. Again, she's very bright here. Let's see if we can just hopefully get a little more brightness here. Maybe even just pulling up the shadows the last bit here. Let's see this one. That could be a black and white. And that is usually my style for editing. I have my warm preset that I usually throw on everything. And then I just choose images as I go if I want them to be black and white or if I want them to be natural colors. The warm colors has just always been my style, so that's what people are hiring me for. But I also like to throw in these black and whites just to create some more classical photos. As well as I like to throw in the natural colors, because when I throw on the warm preset, I basically pull out all the blue tones in the image. And if you want to learn how to edit photos like that, you can click the link up there, or click the link in the description down below. Just gonna go through it again here. Let's just brighten it up a bit, something like that. And again, even though I think it's a little bit too bright down the bottom here, I'm focusing on the subject as well. And this one, I know I have to do a little bit of photoshopping on because I got all these books, I got the chairs and everything here. I'm just gonna set that to 2 stars, which means I can easily find that later. Let's go to the next one. I think that should be a black and white one here. That looks nice. And then we already have all the 27 images done, other than the one I need to Photoshop. So that's like 26 images. So I have the preset for outdoor as well as indoor. And I still think I'm gonna go with the outdoor one for these ones, simply because she's so close to a window, so she gets a lot of natural light. And again, we're just gonna go, let's see. Actually, we have a dress over here. That was not correct. So we're just gonna sync those photos, and then we're gonna move the dress behind and just change the exposure as well. Here we also have some light from the indoor, so I think I'm gonna go with the indoor preset here. So I'm gonna throw on this, and we're gonna brighten it up a bit. And let's see here, it's gonna be these photos right there. Maybe just remove that. And that's the thing, if I see a photo that I don't like, I can just remove it now. So it doesn't really matter if you don't hit all the right photos the first time around. You just have to go through it and say yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. And you can focus on getting the good photos when you actually start editing the photos. So now you've seen what I'm doing. I'm gonna bring you back once there's something different to talk about, simply because it's just more of the same. So just enjoy the time lapse here of me just going through them. Alright, so right here I could brighten the whole image just like this, but then I think it's gonna be too bright on this side. So what I'm gonna do instead is just create a radial mask and just increase the exposure on that. Something like this. As you can see, it just brightens up her, and actually it looks pretty seamless. So that's also one way to do it. So I'm just going to jump back in here again. As you can see, he has a very blue suit on, as well as him and him. But if I just hover above the warm preset, you can see all the blue is going to be taken away. And if you're wearing a blue suit, you would probably like to show it off in at least a few photos. So that's why I'm sometimes putting in photos like this. This over here is the groom, and he's wearing a dark gray suit, so that doesn't really matter. But for the best man right here, going with this basically removes all the blue in his suit, and it almost becomes a gray suit. So now I have done almost 86 photos. And took me around 10-15 minutes, even though I'm talking to you. So let's just move to the next part, which is the ceremony. Just throw in the warm preset, go all the way to the end, right here. And since I know the whole ceremony is taking place outside, I can just synchronize all of them and get them all the same preset. And that is 158 photos, which I only have to go through and see if they need to be brighter or darker, or if I need to throw in another preset on it. On this particular wedding, the priest didn't want me to photograph during his speeches, which is completely fine, but that's why there wasn't that many photos from the ceremony. We have this guy right here with his own camera. Yeah, so even though people are hiring me to photograph their wedding, some guests just doesn't really care. But I mean, whatever. Come on. I'm getting a few shots here, and then I'm gonna run around. Grab a few from the front. This is like the time where people can get their phones out and just take photos of the couple. And that just gives me a quick chance to get all my things in order before we leave. And we're basically done with the ceremony. Now we're starting on the portraits. There's gonna be a few portraits I'm gonna throw into Photoshop, but again, I'm just gonna go through them very fast. I'm gonna throw in my warm outdoor preset. This one's gonna be there. And if you're wondering why some of the photos are already edited, it's because I usually deliver around 20 photos on the next day from the wedding, just so they have some photos they can look at and share and whatever. So that's images like this one and like this one. And those are just really quick. I have not even looked through the whole gallery. I have just scrolled down and said that looks fine, that looks good, that one's nice, and so on. Yeah, I know this does look a little bit boring just going through photos so fast, but when you have over 1,000 photos to edit, you kind of need to streamline things. I'm just doing the photos of the bride and the photos of the groom. I like to just keep the colors as natural as possible, just to show what they actually look like without any fancy presets and colors and stuff. I just love to go out and have fun like this. You can see how much they're just smiling and enjoying themselves here. And it is basically like the only time during the whole day that they just have together. And I just want to make them as relaxed as possible. And I'll just do as much dumb stuff and say as much dumb stuff as possible, just to make them laugh and have fun and kind of forget that we're shooting photos. Beautiful. Maybe that one can be used for something as well. These photos are done at midnight, just before I left. I got the couple to go outside with me to these beautiful lanterns they hung in the trees. And I mean, it is extremely grainy. If you look here, my ISO was set at 12,800, but when you just look at the photo here, it looks great. I'm going into Photoshop just to remove the bench over here, just because I don't like that one that much. Again here. It's beautiful. Now here we have a couple of rings. All of these are 2 stars because I have to focus stack these. I do this to get every part of the rings in focus. And if you want to learn how to do that yourself, you can click the link up there, or simply just go down to the description. Now we're almost done with all the portraits. I'm gonna go back when I'm done with the rest of the photos in order to do all the photoshopping. So for now we're just gonna move on. And here we have the cakes, which I'm just gonna get as naturally lit as possible. Again, just to show exactly what they look like. And because we have multiple photos here, I'm just gonna leave one with the warmer tones. So while I'm going through here, I think I'm just gonna ask you a few questions just to see. Is this something you enjoy? Watching a whole session like this? Or would you prefer me not to speed up anything and just do it in real time? I know this is gonna be a long video with or without speeding up anything, and if you want to see me do this again without speeding up any part and just watching it, just let me know down in the comments. Because I do have a lot more weddings this year and I would love to do this again. Alright, so that was it for the reception. So now we're going to dinner, and I like to take photos of each dish from a top down and from a side view, just so you can see what it is. And I totally forgot, I have already edited this one. So I'm just gonna do this and synchronize. And for these ones, I've used Lightroom's AI in order to remove the background and just darken it and desaturate it. I can show you what I did here if we go into this one. Load the exposure, up the contrast, and load the saturation. So we have a small problem here. I can see inside the bottle here, which means I have to go in here and actually... And then we're just gonna add with a brush right here. And you can just hold down Shift while clicking. That way it will make a straight line from one point to another. And I'm not gonna be very precise right now. I can do that later. I think that's good enough for this. But all the yellow cast I'm gonna fix in Photoshop. This is almost 500 photos. I am just throwing this preset on right now. And now all I have to do is just go through them once again. I don't know if you have this tradition anywhere else in the world, but here in Denmark, whenever a bride leaves the groom to go to the bathroom, all the women goes to kiss him on the cheek, and whenever the groom leaves for the bathroom, all the men are gonna go and kiss the bride on the cheeks. It's a very fun tradition, and people are just going crazy, running up, and as you can see in the photos here, people are just running up with fresh lipsticks and kissing and just trying to leave a mark, and it's always just a great time. And here we have the bride. This right here is also another tradition in Denmark, where people are slapping their cutlery down on the plate, and then the couple has to stand on the chair and kiss. And when people are standing on the ground, they have to go under the table and kiss. But the guest can just literally do this whenever they want, and they can just do it again and again and again, and sometimes they do it 3 or 4 times in a row, where the couple just has to go up and down, up and down. And it's all just in good fun. And here we got them under the table again. I do believe I'm gonna have to Photoshop that leg out. Now we're also at the 2-hour mark, which means that I have an hour left for the last 200 photos, something like that, as well as the Photoshopping. So I think if I have to be realistic, I will be done in probably an hour and a half. So let's just get to it. Now we got to the point where the sun has set, which means it's gonna be very dark, and we only have a few lamps just at the edge all around the room, which means that the photos now are just gonna be a little more dark. I do have a lamp that I set up for all the speeches. I only keep that on for the speeches itself, not just for the whole time, again, because I just like to stand back and just don't interfere, just let the day happen and capture the moments the best I can. And now we got to the first dance, or the wedding waltz. What I did here was just take the lamp I had before and I placed it right behind them. And then I had another lamp, actually this one, right here. This one, that is making this, right behind me. And I had that in the front here, just to brighten the shadows a little bit. You can see the highlight here on his cheek. And right here. I like this setup because you get stuff like this, where you get the flare. And you get this beautiful cutout from the background. Now the last bit here is just the party photos. There's not many party photos this time around because I spent the time with the couple outside doing a few extra portraits. And finally, before I can go into Photoshop, we have all the group photos and all the family photos. And I have already looked at these photos as well, so I know which ones I need. Alright, so that is all the photos. Right now I have been doing this for the last 2.5 hours. So I have half an hour in order to finish the last photos. I have 36 images here that I know I have to look at and see what needs to be done. So I know this one. Let's see if we can take it with a crop. That would help me a lot. I think I'm gonna wait with the portraits again. I can go to the rings. These ones I'm just gonna mark all. I'm just gonna open them up as layers in Photoshop. And again, if you want to learn how to do a handheld photo stack, as well as all the post-production, you can just click the link down in the description. So, what we got here is a lot of photos that I am firstly going to auto-align. And we're just gonna wait for that to be done. It's perfect. And then we're just gonna go to auto-blend layers as a stacked image. Looks to be done correctly. That looks good. I am happy with this. I'm just gonna save that. I'm just gonna come back into Lightroom. While we wait for that, I can take a look at the cakes here. I actually don't think I want to do anything about this because there were plenty of photos there. This one I will have to do something about. I'm just gonna go in with a hue and saturation. I'm just gonna desaturate it, and then I'm just gonna do the quick select tool. I'm just gonna create a mask with this, and I can see that I actually want to keep the stuff inside here, and to do that I'm simply just gonna paint that back in. So there we go. Before, after, before, after. Let's go back into Lightroom. Here we have the leg we need to remove, and we're gonna have to do that for all 3 of these. I'm actually thinking that, let's see which one of these 2 are the better one. Don't think it matters, so let's just remove this one. That way I only need to do it on 2. Let's open Photoshop. There we go. Alright, so let's see what content aware can do. Actually, pretty good job. I don't think anyone will notice down in the bottom here. So I'm just gonna do a quick copy. I don't think anybody's gonna notice that, so that's good. Next one, I'll put that in here as well. Let's see if we can just do it all in one. I think we just have a small problem here. That's nothing we can't fix with a little liquify. Nobody's gonna notice that. I am very sure of that. We could take a look at this down here, but I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody is gonna look at that. So let's just save that. Here we have the portraits. And I just need to take this guy's face from this photo and put on top of the other one. So let's take a look at this. This is actually the photo we're gonna use, so it's gonna be on the bottom. Then we're gonna take this guy, take a brush, soft brush, and just paint away. And we're gonna invert it, and then we're just gonna place him there. Let's see. Nobody's gonna know that, so that is perfect. Now for the other one, the same deal. We just have a couple of eyes closed. We're gonna open that in Photoshop as well. This time, the only one with closed eyes is her over here. So we're just gonna put this on top again. Add a mask. Paint her out. And invert the mask. And then we can place her right here, and I'm just gonna go in with a brush again. That looks good. Now I can take all of these photos and just put them to 0. And looking at the time, it has been 3 hours since I started. I still need to do the last couple of portraits, but I've basically done the whole wedding in 5 hours. I'm gonna need half an hour more just to finish up the last few photos here. You are gonna see it, and I might just talk a little bit about it. But for the most part, I just want to get it done so I can get the photos to the couple. Right here I'm just doing a classical double exposure. I think that's all of them. The rest of the photos here are just the ones that I thought I could use, but I think I got the few that I liked, and I'm very happy. I'm just gonna go back and I'm just gonna see if anything needs fixing when we're looking at the order of things. We have the little flagpole down there. Alright, I am done. That is everything. We're at 1084 photos, so a little more than I like to, but it is fine. We got everything done here and I think it looks great. I can't wait to show this to the clients and hopefully they love it just as much as I do. Now all that's left to do is just export all the photos. And while it's exporting, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.